the appearance of torches going back and forth among the living creatures. The fire was bright, and out of the fire went lightning. And the living creatures ran back and forth in appearance like a flash of lightning. How fast do angels travel? Like with the speed of lightning. How fast does this message need to go to the world? It needs to go to the world with the speed of lightning. But unfortunately, it's going to the world with the speed of a snail. Or the speed of a tortoise. It's not because the angelic host isn't waiting anxiously for this message to be proclaimed to the world. It's simply because we as human beings have not lent ourselves to be used by the power of God to proclaim these heavenly messages of God to the world so that the end can come. You have an example of the speed of the travel of angels. You remember that in Daniel chapter 9, Daniel was praying because he wanted some wisdom about understanding prophecy that said, unto 2,300 days and the sanctuary shall be cleansed, which was in the previous chapter, Daniel 8, verse 14. And Daniel was praying because he wanted to understand that time prophecy. And if you read there in Daniel chapter 9, it says that Gabriel, when Daniel began his prayer, he left the heavenly throne, and before Daniel finished his prayer, Gabriel was next to his side. So how fast do angels travel? They travel very, very swiftly. And God wants these messages to go with utmost swiftness. Fact number 5. The messages are worldwide in scope. In other words, the messages are of heavenly origin. They're to be proclaimed by human beings with the utmost velocity, with great power, and they are to be proclaimed in all of the world. Now listen to what I'm going to tell you. Most Christians today, most conservative Christians that is, evangelicals, Pentecostals, etc., believe that the three angels' messages are actually messages that will be proclaimed during the tribulation after the church has been raptured to heaven. In fact, they believe that everything from Revelation 4 all the way through Revelation chapter 19 applies to the Jews in the Middle East after the church has been raptured to heaven. But my question regarding that is this. If this message, or these messages, because it's one message composed of 3 parts, if these messages are to be proclaimed only to the Jews, why do we find that it says that these messages are supposed to go to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people? Obviously, these messages are not only for the Jews in the Middle East. These messages are to be proclaimed on a worldwide scale, which means that in order to proclaim them, you have to have a worldwide people to announce them. I'm just throwing that out. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. A worldwide message being proclaimed necessitates a worldwide people that understands these messages and is willing to go out and preach these messages. These messages are to go to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. They are global in extent. Notice Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14. You notice that the first angel's message speaks about preaching the everlasting gospel. And then when you get to the end of the 3 angels' messages, you have the harvest. In other words, Jesus is seated on a cloud. He has a sickle on his hand. The end has come. The earth has been harvested. In other words, the preaching of the gospel has come to an end. Now I want you to notice what Jesus said in harmony with this. Matthew 24 and verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached where? In all the world, as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come.